Hello, and welcome to the Independent Publishers of New England's weekly broadcast of Ask the Experts. Today, we're very, very lucky to have with us Skye Wentworth, who has been working in book publicity for years and has all kinds of incredibly creative ways to publicize your book, whether you're an author or a publisher. She provides book marketing, consultation, media promotion, and author branding for both authors and publishers worldwide. She arranges press kits and author tours. We're going to take a look at one of those author tours. Fascinating tour. She also provides publicity in newspapers, magazines, to radio, and the internet. She works on social networking and gives webinars and teaches. So after receiving a master's degree in media and technology from Boston University, Skye worked as Director of Public Relations in various advertising studios. She also worked as the Executive Director of Performing Arts Centers and as a Senior Book Publicist for publishing houses. So she's got lots of experience to bring to us today. Since 1996, she's consulted with more than 200 authors on over 300 titles. And currently in the New England area, she's serving as a board member of the Newburyport Adult and Community Education. She's on the steering committee for the Newburyport Literary Festival, and she's president of the Cultural Alliance of the Lower Merrimack Valley. And all of that without a time machine. I can't wait to talk with her. So welcome, Skye. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here today.
It's really our pleasure. I can't believe you made time for us, so thanks. Okay, my first question for you, Skye, is how did you get started as a publicist?
Well, I took the long route. I think that back in the old days, we didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a book publicist. I started out by being a librarian. Okay. And when I was a librarian at Boston University, for people that are on the faculty, at least in those days, they would give free courses. So I just started taking courses in communications and media and technology. It was interesting. And time goes by, before I knew it, I had a master's degree. So from there, I started working in advertising companies, which was lots of fun, and became Director of Public Relations. And anyone would come through. Actually, you'll like this scenario. Howard Johnson's, I did a campaign for Howard Johnson. At the beginning, they wanted advertising to do a little radio and maybe use some tent cards to tell people that they now also sell homemade pies. And this was in Vermont, and so it was right on the main highway going to, in Burlington, going to the mall. Mm-hmm. And they had very little money. I told them, I said, I'm taking all of your money and I'm doing one thing. And they gulped. One thing. And what I did is that I had one of those air balloons made, I think, dirigible,
right,
in the shape of a wedge of pie. And I called it not just pie in the sky. We also have 31 flavors of ice cream. So great. Before we knew it, the TV channels were there taking photos of it. It was a color photo the next day in the newspaper. Radio shows were talking about it, and they really got a lot of, publicity for very little money for just doing. And also, people saw it. They would see it in the sky. They would see that balloon, and they'd say, "Where is that?" And they'd head for it. Maybe not, but they'd wanted to see it, what it was.
Wow, fantastic.
So what happened one day, a woman came in with a book, and it was like I had an epiphany. It was like it was a perfect marriage. I could just promote books.
Wow.
And that's how that happened, and I started working for publishing companies. But I love reading, I love books, and it's just wonderful to work with authors and to work with publishing companies. So I'm very happy that I found my little niche in life.
Well, so are a lot of authors and publishers, obviously. It's definitely a win-win situation. Okay, thanks for that introduction, Skye. It's just incredible what you've managed to get done. What I'd like to do right now is take a quick look at the Quaker Midwife Mystery Walking Tour.
Okay.
With Edith Maxwell. Before we take a look at that, we're just going to, and it's on YouTube for anyone who would like to see the entire thing. But Skye, would you like to mention anything about it before we just take a quick look?
Well, yes. This author, Edith Maxwell, came to me and said that she has a new series coming out. It's a midwife mystery series, a Quaker midwife. And she said, I'd like to go a step above. You know, I've done radio, I've gotten reviews, but I need something that I would like to go a little step above. And I recommend highly for every single author, be creative and do something that's different. And that way, newspapers and people, the radio shows, etc., will pick up on it. So with Edith, I read her book. It takes place in 1888 in Amesbury, Massachusetts. And after I read it, I said, Edith, all those places that you talk about are still there. They're right there. Why don't you launch your book by doing a walking book tour? And so that's what this is all about. We had about 60 people that came, and it was so much fun.
Wow, great. Okay, we're going to right now take if we can, we'll see.
Notice she's in costume, and this is a map that I made.
That is just a brilliant mystery walking tour. And you said there are about 60 people who attended?
There were about 60 people. And other places that we stopped at, we stopped at the Quaker meeting house, and everyone got a chance to sit down and go to the bathroom, because this was an hour walk. It was a loop that we did. And then after that, we went to the Whittier home, and we went to other places. But it was everyone. I heard people say this is so much fun. It made me feel good.
Oh, I would imagine. And what a creative idea for publicizing a book. And one of the
she'll still be using it, and she has 2 more books coming out in this series. So I'm sure it'll just continue.
Great, great. And one of the things that I really found fascinating about this, and one of the things I love reading books for, is in the introduction, which we just missed, she said that the reason she chose her detective to be a midwife was that midwives can go into places that most people can't, and they hear a lot in the when they're talking to the women who are preparing to give birth and giving birth, they hear a lot that the average person wouldn't hear. And I never thought of that. What a great idea for a book.
Well, she's a little bit like Miss Marple too, because when she talks to the detectives and tries to steer them in the right direction, they think, oh, why would we listen to you? But she's the one, she's the main protagonist, and she's the one that solves the mysteries.
Great. Okay. Another question is, why should someone, or when should someone start promoting their book? What would you recommend?
Well, I would say begin about 6 months ahead of time.
Okay.
And do a lot of social networking where you start talking to people about a book that you are writing or a book that's coming up. Um, so try to gather a group of people that are very interested in your book, you know, that later will become fans of yours. And so do that. Also, you want to think about 6 months ahead of time. Maybe you should have some great endorsements. Get those ready for your book. They can either go on the back of your book, I mean, both. And also they'll go on Amazon or other places where you'll have endorsements. And don't be shy. Go for the person that you would really, really love to have endorse your book. I just worked with a woman, well, it's last year now. She wrote a book about, she had 6 types of cancer.
Wow.
And I can't believe it. She's amazing. Her book is called A Kick-Ass Fairy.
Wow.
She is, believe me, she's tough. And she wanted Ken Burns to endorse her book.
Wow. Wow.
And that was quite a big, you know, task for me.
Right, right. I would imagine.
He did. I ended up sending the book and a letter to Ken Burns. I didn't have his actual address, but I knew that he lived in a small town in New Hampshire.
Okay.
So I put a note right on top, right on the package itself. I said, "Dear postmistress," I decided it was a woman.
Good for you. Yeah.
I said, "Please hand this to Ken Burns when he comes in."
Wow.
And before I knew it, we got the very best endorsement from Ken Burns for her book.
Wow.
And, you know, she's a self-published author, and she's not with, like, Random House, and it went a long ways. It was very, very wonderful.
Great. Wow.
So don't be afraid, but also do get a lot of reviews. Another thing to do is I would do that what is it called on Amazon where you can order it ahead of time?
I know what you're talking about, but you reserve the book.
You can pre-order your
Right.
book on Amazon.
Right.
Put that up 4 to 6 weeks beforehand. No, not longer than that, but
Okay.
4 to 6 weeks. And
Okay.
then have some people in reserve that you've asked to review your book on Amazon, and tell them the day. You want it the day that the book is launched.
Okay.
And then tell them on that day to put their review in. And that way, when people go to order the book, they're going to see reviews already that people. But you have to give them a copy of your book instead of pre-ordering it for your reviewers. Give them. Don't be afraid to give out free books.
Okay. And how many free books, more or less, would you suggest someone give out for this?
Oh, give out 20. You know.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, great. So in addition to endorsements and reviews and pre-ordering on Amazon, is there anything that an author or publisher should keep in mind, any other aspects in terms of timing and timeline?
Well, yes. What you want to do ahead of time, before the book comes out, you want to strategize. I can't say this. You must. You want a plan. You've got to have that infrastructure. You've got to have all of your ducks in order. That is, first of all, you want a cover for your book that is gorgeous, drop-dead gorgeous. It's very important, especially for ebooks.
Okay.
You want people to be able to see the title of your book from across the room, so to speak.
All right.
but make it nice. You want to get a website, and then you want to plan for how you're going to move forward. Are you good at radio? Are you good at, would you like to do webinars? You know, think about what you want to do ahead of time. Here's a good thing to do. Successful authors oftentimes leave many clues of what they've done, and you could go to Google. Let's say you are a mystery writer. Go to Google and write in authors who write mysteries. See who comes up on page 1.
Oh.
I mean, you don't want someone really big that fans already know about them, but somebody that's really selling and promoting a lot of books and coming up on page 1. Then just follow the different links. Then put in that author's name. Follow those links and see what that author has done previously. It's not that you're going to copy everything that author has done. I don't say that. But they're going to give you ideas of how they've been successful and what they've done. And the reviews that they've gotten, you might consider going to those reviewers and asking them to review your book.
Wow. Wow, things I've never thought of. It's fascinating, the world of book publicity. How many years have you been working in this, with books and publicity?
Oh, probably 20 years.
Wow.
So I started out it was before the internet, so it was all traditional, and I think the thing that you have to do, really, I had a man that said he wanted to be on the Today Show. And so when they tell me sometimes where they really want to be, I kind of really focus for that. But so I sent, not only did I get him on the Today Show, but I got the Today Show to fly out to Seattle, and they did a life in the day of this company that he had. He has.
Great.
So it's important to also know what your reviewers are looking for, and it doesn't hurt at all to have seen something else that they've done, so you can say, give them a compliment, give the reviewer a compliment for their achievements that they've done in the past. That helps too.
Okay, Skye, and thanks for all this fantastic information. I'd imagine that you have so many people who want you to review their books that you can be a bit picky. I don't know. I'm guessing. Just even kind of like what you're.
I don't usually review the books, but I do, promote them. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean that. I publicize. We have some questions coming in from members right now, and if you're a member and you're listening, send the question to the IPNI members Facebook page, and Charlotte Pierce will post them here for me to ask Skye. So one of the questions is, if I decide to hire a publicist, what criteria should I look for? Should a publicist be in my region, or what would you suggest?
Not necessarily. I personally, I promote books. Right now I'm promoting books for people for an author in San Francisco. I have another one in Minnesota. I have one in, I just did one for a man in India, an author in India. So I don't think because of technology and because of communication, you can, it doesn't really have to be somebody in your region. However, what you should look for is you want a publicist to listen to what you want. I have authors that are really good and want a lot of radio. Others do not want any radio. When an author comes to me, I discuss, what I do, and I have a structure that's like a normal structure. But I also take in mind that every single author that comes to me is different, and our campaign's going to be different. And so for me, the idea is that I listen to the author and what the author has, and then I write a whole proposal. I write a proposal of what we'll be doing. And then we discuss it, and they say, I might not want to do this, but how about if we, do a little bit more with this, of promoting their book. I think it's personality a little bit. I think you want to know that you're going to get along well with your publicist. You want to know that your publicist has your best interest in mind, not something that is so much good for them, but what you think will actually. I will tell you that the bottom line, no matter what, even though I'm not a salesman, I'm always thinking like one, because I don't know an author out there that doesn't want that needle to push over to the side of selling their books.
Right.
So selling books is very important.
Okay, great.
Those are some of the ideas.
No, that's fantastic. You have so many ideas. It's hard to know when to just stop and ask for it, because we have more questions coming in. Charlotte, right now I don't see. I see the YouTube page. Could we put up the oh, there we go. The Skye's
yeah,
WordPress.
you just have to
Okay.
You have to click it again.
I see. Okay. Okay. So another question: how does an author decide when, or a publisher decide what they should do on their own, and when to hire a publicist? And what gives you confidence when you're working with an author or a publisher that they're going to be easy to work with, and they've already done a lot of their own? They're aware of what they can do on their own, and so they're coming to you for special information. So what can an author or publisher do on their own? What would you recommend them to do on their own to prepare? And what sort of things should they depend more on a publicist to do?
Well, the most important thing in the whole wide world, and listen to this, is get an editor.
I'm so glad you said that.
I want to promote a book that sings, and I really believe that every single author out there, you need an editor. So please, if you're going to spend some money, spend it on an editor, because you want that book to just be picked up and read and loved. And I have had authors that say, I've had an editor, their friend read it. No. You want a person that is a true editor for your book. And then another thing to get ready and to do, as I said, is really, really think about a beautiful, a wonderful, a book cover that can sell itself in a way. They say that when a person goes to a bookstore to buy a book, they pick it up and they spend about 3 seconds with the cover, and they spend about 7 seconds on the back cover, and then they usually make a decision right there.
Wow.
On whether they want to buy the book. So I think that's very important to have ahead. You could do, I offer consultation sessions if you wanted to hire me for that, and from that you can find out what you can do for yourself and what you think that you'd like a publicist to do. I will say that when I send out to reviewers want to hear from publicists usually. They don't, I mean, authors can send in too, but I have a relationship with a lot of reviewers. They'll write to me, they'll say, they might say, not this one, Skye, or, oh, Skye, this looks good. We could also do this or this. So a publicist is good because they already have built up a relationship with a lot of the people in the media. So I think that you'll know yourself. do you like making cold calls to radio shows? Or do you want a publicist to do it for you? So you'll know when you go through, start strategizing on what you'd like to have happen.
Wonderful, wonderful. That really clarified that issue for me as well. Okay, we just have a couple more minutes here, and I could speak to you for hours. I mean, you are just a font of information and knowledge and relationships, and it was such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Well, it really is a pleasure. Thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add in the last couple of minutes that we haven't mentioned?
A lot of times people will say, how long should I promote my book?
Okay.
And I would say that you can go really up to about 2 years. But after that, write another book. When you write a second book or a third book, you'd be surprised how much even more that first book sells. So just keep writing, and do think about how much time you really need. It's not just writing. You're going to need to let the world know about your book, and so you're going to have to promote it as well after you write it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Skye, for joining us today. It has just been a true pleasure talking with you, and I actually can't wait to watch the video again, and so I can take notes this time.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you having me on.
Such a pleasure. We've been talking, this is Karen Einstein, and I've been talking with Skye Wentworth about book publicity. She's got decades of experience and just a wealth of knowledge, and very pleasant to talk to as well. So thank you for joining us. This is Independent Publishers of New England's weekly Ask the Expert broadcast. We appear live on Thursdays at noon, and you can also watch the videos as many times as you'd like, either from our web page, go to the live streaming section, or you can watch it on YouTube. A new business she has called Book Discovery, so I'm really very much looking forward to that. And coming up, we have expert sessions with Green Publishing. We're working with a number of different publishers who are focusing on environmental and ecological both processes and books. And we have a session with illustrators, and coming up session with talking about children's books, which is a very complex market. So thanks again, Skye Wentworth, for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you to Charlotte Pierce for producing this show and being the driving force and the technological genius behind it as well. And so without further ado, I'd like to say thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye now.